A lot of businesses think that YouTube is going to be the secret solution for their business, and it can be. YouTube is really strong because you can build long-term authority for people who are looking for your services. And it's a really simple thing if you just consistently put out videos. But a big question that I get asked all the time is, how long does it take to work? And unfortunately, the answer to that is kind of complicated. So in this video, I'm going to explain, if you're thinking about doing YouTube for your local business, how long should you expect to start to see results? So let's get right into it. So my name's Douglas. I run Showcase Phoenix. We work with local businesses. We do authority marketing, meta ads, YouTube strategy, and all of those things. And it wasn't easy when I got started. I started a YouTube channel in around 2019 for my passion, which was BMX riding, and nobody watched it. I put out videos about myself, and unfortunately nobody knew who I was, so nobody was searching for it. Eventually I realized that if I made content about the things that people were searching for, it worked just like a blog post. There's a search engine optimization aspect to YouTube, and this is kind of what I accidentally stumbled upon. Eventually the channel started growing, I started getting more followers, I started making more money, and after you have videos that get hundreds of thousands of views, guess what? People start to care about you. And then people start to search for you, right? So all those videos I made beforehand about me didn't work because nobody knew that I existed. But once I created content that added value to people's lives, then they started searching for me because I gave first. And so this is the first thing in the strategy with your with your local business. You want to think about it that way. And it's going to take you a while to figure it out. It's going to take you a while to figure out what people are actually searching for. But once you figure those things out, the YouTube strategy starts to work very, very, very quickly. But it's up to you for how long it takes you to determine that. Now, what I tell most people is, if you're thinking about doing YouTube for your business, plan on about 6 months. I know. Nobody wants to hear that. Now, this is fine if you're creating it yourself and you're just putting out content. You're putting out a mid-form video once a month. In those 6 months, you're gonna have about 6 videos. You're gonna have 6 data points for you to figure out what's actually working, right? If you can do 2 videos per month, you're gonna have 12. So this is how much you can learn. If you could do 4 videos per month, you're gonna have 24, right? So I always tell people, the more the merrier, especially in these first 6 months. So in the first 6 months, you're going to, depending on how many videos you put out, you're gonna have this many data points. And what I mean by data points is you can see clearly. If you've done 24 videos, you can see a lot quicker which video is an outlier, which videos tend to get more views than the other videos. You also start to get much, much better at being on camera and talking to your customers after 10 videos, after 100 videos. The more videos you put out, the better, okay? And so after these 6 months though, the 6 months is really just a testing phase. Once you get those 6 months under your belt, you get better at making videos. You start to understand which topics resonate with people, then you're going to want to completely redo your strategy because you've started to find what works. And again, it really just comes down to, in these 6 months, how quickly you're learning these 3 things. What works? So over the first 6 months, you're going to be trying to learn these 3 things. And the quicker you learn these 3 things is going to determine how quick the rest of that strategy pays off. So for example, my first YouTube channel, it took me, I'd say about 2019, 2020, 2021. I'd say about it was about 2 years to get that first channel monetized, to get it to the point where it's like, it's only 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, okay? Took me about 2 years. I started up a second channel. I did that one in 9 months. One of my clients that was just naturally gifted on camera, we did it in 3 months. We did it off short views, which is 10 million shorts views. It's pretty crazy. But what I'm getting at here is, most people start off here. They have no idea what they're doing and they have to learn the hard way. They have to learn the long way. They have to do trial and error for 2 years to figure it out. If you have a little bit of experience, you can do it here. You can do it in 9, 10 months, maybe a year. You cut that time in half. But if you have guidance of somebody who's done it multiple times, you can really cut this down. But baseline, I'm going to say 6 months to a year for anybody who's starting out. And over those 6 months, you're going to try and learn these 3 things, okay? And let me break these down real quick for you. And then I'll tie it all together and you're gonna just have this epiphany at the end. So bear with me, okay? So first, you're trying to figure out what works. What I mean by what works is what's working with your content. For every business, there's gonna be something that just sticks to people that you will not even, you don't get to know it, you get to find it. For one of my clients, he does pools and backyards and things like that. He did a video talking about quarter minus, which is a material that you use to install stuff. You're not supposed to use it to install pavers, and that's what one of the videos was. This sparked a whole big controversy because there's people using it to install pavers and they're doing it the wrong way. And then there's homeowners saying, oh my God, I think my stuff was installed like this. Every time we post a video talking about quarter minus and paver installation, that video crushes. So that's an example of finding what works, right? It took us hundreds of videos on different topics and different areas to figure out what that thing was. Another client, the one that got monetized in 3 months, it's every time he straightens and powder coats wheels, every time he talks about the lead hammer that he uses to straighten wheels, hundreds of thousands of views. Do you think that we walked into there and I was like, hey man, everyone wants to hear you talk about the lead hammer? No, that would have never crossed my mind. We were just filming and I was like, hey, what is this thing? And he's like, oh, this is a lead hammer. Like I use it to straighten the wheels. That video went insane and you can't plan it, okay? So over the 6 months, you're posting as many videos as possible that are not the same because you're trying to figure out what works. What video gets views, what topic gets views, what resonates with people. You want to figure that out fast because on month number 7, you're going to talk more about that because you figured out what works. On month number 8, you're going to talk more about that because you figured out what works. The second thing is how to tell a story. This is all videos are. They're storytelling. Like I just told you that story about the lead hammer. Instead of preaching at you, I can relate it to a story. And when you're creating content, you've got to be telling stories so that people can connect with you. It's a way to do number 3, passively sell. And the best way to do that is through stories, okay? And a good example of that is like when I started, I was so authority focused. I was so like, hey guys, you should do this and you should do this and you should do this. But when I started breaking it down and telling stories about my experience, about what I thought about things and how I came to that conclusion, it's a lot easier to follow. When you look at your YouTube retention graph, it typically looks like this. And that's not good. When you incorporate telling stories, you start to get, you're obviously going to have that big drop, but then people stay a lot longer because they're sticking around because you're telling stories. I learned this from Russell Brunson. If you've ever read expertsecrets.com secrets or traffic secrets, those books are all about stories. He's going to hit you with a claim, tell a story about why that claim is true or why he believes that, and then move on to the next one. It's actually pretty crazy how good that works and how easy it is for people to get connected to you when you're telling stories. And the other reason for the telling stories, like I said, is it makes it easier to passively sell, which is the third thing you need to figure out. Because even if month number 7, month number 8, you're crushing it, your YouTube strategy for your business is killing it, that's awesome. But if you don't know how to passively sell, everyone's going to feel like they're being pitched, and that doesn't work very good. Nobody wants to be pitched to. But if you start to say things like, hey, I had a customer who came in with this issue. What you're saying is I solved this problem for somebody, but you don't have to say, I solve problems for people, or I fix toilets, or whatever it is. You don't have to say that because you're telling a story and you're passively selling what you do. Does that make sense? This concept is so hard and it's hard for me to get out in a way, but there's 2 camps, right? You could say, hey, we're the best at what we do. We've been around for a really long time and we help people fix their toilets. Okay, that's one thing you can say. That's boring. If you're able to say, hey, we had this guy come in, no idea what was going on, but every time he walked in the bathroom, it was flooded. and he had multiple people come out. They gave him quotes. The quotes were really high, and this guy didn't have the money to pay for it. So we went out, we just did a free, look around, and we noticed that, hey, these quotes are way wrong, and these guys are trying to take advantage of it. The fix was super simple. We just had to change out the little rubber thing on the toilet. We did it for free, told him don't even worry about it. He's happy, we're happy, like everything worked. So that first story is so in your face. Hey, we're the best, this is what we do, blah, blah, blah. The second story says the exact same thing, but it paints a picture. It says it without saying it. Hey, we're the best. Like, we come out, we found these guys were ripping people off, and we didn't even charge to fix it because the issue was so small. Like, by saying that, you're essentially saying you're the best, right? Does that make sense? So you want to be able to passively sell. And when you figure out how to do these three things, you're going to double down on it in month 7, month 8, month 9. And from there, the amount of time for it to work is going to be evident, but I would give it those first 6 months to really dial it in and figure all of these things out. My 3 ninja hacks for YouTube: post as frequently as possible. If you notice on these channels, I've got hundreds of videos already, and it's because I'm putting out content to figure out what's working and then double down on that content. You've got to do that. Then tell stories. Don't sell, just tell stories. People are going to connect with you, especially as a local business. These people want somebody trustworthy. They want an authority figure that they can follow along. And then passively sell, because if you're getting hundreds of thousands of views and you're not actually selling anything, it's not really worth it. If you need help with your YouTube strategy, that's what we do. Leave a comment. I'd love to learn more about your business and what you're trying to do. We'll see you guys later.